Hey everybody, Benedict here again. Today, I brought with me the Harley Benton solder-free patch cable kit. Why would you want to need solder-free patch cables, you might ask? Well, you can kind of like determine the length of the cables yourself, which is pretty neat. And yeah, so let's have a look. This set comes with 3 meters of cable, 10 jacks, so which makes 5 cables in total, and a little cutter. And of course, there we go, a little screwdriver. Of course, you can use the cutter, but I actually prefer to use some tools. So for example, you can use this one, wire cutter, or a sharp cutter knife. All right, let's build one. And it's actually quite simple. If you're doing that on your pedal board, just make sure your cable length is actually just a tiny little bit, maybe 1 inch or like 2 centimeters or 3 longer than you'd actually need it. So that way you got some slack and don't have some extra pressure, or you don't have like these super sharp bends. Just make sure, leave a little slack. That way you make sure your cables will stay alive and work for a long time. So let's say, for instance, we need it like this. Take your wire cutter and make sure to cut it completely in an angle of 90 degrees. So that way you ensure it's totally flat and properly angled. And if you're using a wire cutter or a sharp knife, you'll actually get like a totally clean cut, and that's super important. You don't want to have your inner copper wire, like you don't want it to be sticking out a little, because if you plug it in, it actually might bend and touch the insulation. And when your hot signal touches the insulation, but then you don't get any signal. So that's that. We got our cable. Now let's take our plugs. And we take our screwdriver and loosen that screw. There we go. So that it's barely in there. Then make sure your cable is straightened out. Bend it, work it a little. And by actually rubbing it and squeezing it a little, it actually gets a little warm and therefore a little more bendy. Take it, double check that you got a clean cut, insert it, and actually twist it a little, like turning it, and make sure you insert it as down in there all the way. Take your screwdriver and tighten the screw, and make sure you tighten it proper. Tighten it all the way till it's really locked in. All right, next one. So let's see if I can do it better than before. Here we go. Again, make sure you got a clean cut. Insert the cable. Push it in, make sure you twist it a little bit and get it in there all the way. Use the screwdriver. There you go. Simple as that. And I always recommend check your cables. Don't do your whole pedal board, just have the problem that maybe you got a failure on one cable, and then you got to search. Just like takes too much time. Just like make one cable, check it, plug it into your amp, and see working good. That's it. Those are the Harley Benton solder-free patch cables. See you on Instagram and Facebook. Till next time. Bye bye.